Welcome and thank you all for joining us today for our ICT Innovative Circuit Technology webinar, Powering BEAD Deployments, DC Power Systems for a Future-Ready Eco Center. Here to present from ICT is their Channel Manager, Cody Cochran, Sales Applications Engineer, Robin Batt, and representing Winncom Technologies, our Fiber Product Manager, Alex Cernick. If anyone has any questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to add them into the chat and they'll be addressed at the end of the webinar. Alex, you're up.
Excellent. Thank you, Dawn, as always, for the fantastic introduction. And then, again, a special thanks to ICT for you guys, both Cody and Robin, for taking time out of your schedule. And for those of you who are joining or are in the process of joining, thank you again for attending another Winncom panel discussion. Today, we're going to talk about ICT in regards to power systems. We'll talk about how that's going to correlate or relate to BEAD. We'll provide some updates on BEAD of what we're hearing from Washington. And then we're going to look at this from a solution-centric perspective. As always, the format here is a panel. It's back and forth, almost like an interview style between Winncom and ICT. What I'd ask, though, if you have questions, either drop them at the chat or we'll open the session towards the end where you can ask. Again, put those questions out there and we'll make sure that we either address you online or we can reach out to you after that and have a quick conversation. So Cody, I kick the ball in your court to begin.
Yeah, well, thank you to our friends at Winncom, our partner at Winncom, Alex, yourself, and Dawn, and thank you, Robin, for taking the time to join as well. So as we're kind of getting into this conversation, since we are focusing on BEAD, Alex, I know you're the BEAD guru over there at Winncom. I've talked to a lot of people about BEAD, and I know you have quite a bit of expertise on it. But what is the latest coming out of Washington? Just regarding BEAD funding, the program timelines, et cetera, what's the latest?
That is the $44 billion question, right? What's going on in Washington? I do not have a crystal ball, so I guess I can probably start by saying that. But we do have a lot of strategic partners who are talking to Washington directly. Same thing from advocates on state levels at WISPA. So again, we've got our ear to the ground and a lot of our advocates continuously trying to figure out the details. What I can tell you is this: states are still moving forward. States are moving forward with pre-qualification and application. We haven't really seen a decline in that. I use the word uncertainty is what exactly are the program changes if there are going to be coming out of Washington. The last that was officially said was U.S. Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick talked about a technology neutral approach, and that wasn't defined, but I'm kind of curious what that looks like. I don't think that's a bad idea, quite honestly. I think how do you, either with fiber or with fixed wireless, serve BSLs, broadband serviceable locations, so those unserved, underserved locations, the most cost-effective way possible. And I do think it's a mix of technologies. I think if you're in a high-density area, fiber absolutely makes sense. But when you're starting to see fewer BSLs, fixed wireless, i.e. CBRS or other adjacent technologies, it makes more sense of how do you do it cost effectively. So again, I don't have a crystal ball. I just gave you a very quick overview, but what I do believe will happen is this is going to continue to push forward. I think there might be small changes or tweaks to the plan, but states are acting as if. And there are a lot of advocates, again, pushing to make this a quicker process. The latest happened last week. They, from the federal side, they delayed funding release by 90 days. This is the second time they did that. So when funds become available is one of the questions. And then the other one being, does the scoring rubric change to allow technology neutral, a fair technology neutral approach? And here at Winncom, we'll continue to monitor it. We'll continue to work with our strategic partners And as soon as we have a definitive answer, again, we'll talk about it on the panel, and then we'll communicate that directly to you.
Awesome. No, that's very good. Thanks, Alex. So just sticking with you, Alex, on this, you had mentioned, states are a little bit, kind of scattered at where they're at in the process. So which states are moving towards that pre-qualification or application submission deadlines? Where are we at with some of those? And I know you guys have Winncom as a pretty, comprehensive a support system for BEAD. How do you guys help customers navigate this, seemingly bit of a complicated process by the looks of it?
Okay, so you got two really good questions in there. So I've got a slide that talks about the first part of it. So first of which, I'd say almost 3/4 of the states have gone through pre-qualification and have started going to application releases. Just use an example, it's not on this list, is Arizona. Arizona's done pre-qual, they've done application round 1, and I want to say it's in mid-June with a July release. They're going to have application wave 2 come down the pipe. So what I'm showing here are states that have not gone through pre-qualification. Now, one thing I want to say, and it's extremely important, is applying for pre-qualification allows you the ability to bid on either wave 1, wave 2, or wave 3 funding. Pre-qualification doesn't necessarily reopen. I can only give you 2 examples of states. Let's use one, was West Virginia. They did pre-qualification, they did their application, they didn't have sufficient applicants or subgrantees bidding, so they reopened it. But all of the other states, they are getting a decent amount of applications and they're not opening pre-qual. So what I would highly encourage is for you to put together those pre-qualification applications. And what you're seeing in this slide are examples of some states that are about to move through this process. So California is happening as of, it's happening today. They are closing this May 1st, and their application end date is also coming down the pipe. Oklahoma is May 26th on their pre-qualification, and in parallel to that, their applications are also due. They're doing 4 rounds of funding based on different technologies. We have Ohio, Florida, and Iowa, along with New Jersey, which will probably happen sometime in the next 90 to 120 days. And then we have Texas of May 14th on their pre-qualification. Now, the other thing you asked is how can we help? And we can help from a lot of different perspectives. First of which, Winncom's a distributor, and our core competency is offering best-in-breed technologies. So the first thing we did was we looked at the rules associated to BEAD, which was one of 2 things. If you're talking fiber or active fiber, it has to be BABA certified. It's got to be manufactured in the US, 55% of the components have to be derived from here. So we have vendors that meet those criteria. For products that meet exemptions, and this could be power exemptions, this could be radio exemptions, antenna exemptions. We've got that entire eco center. So our goal is, I hate to say the term one-stop shop, but we have the ability to turnkey that entire product and experience. Now, in addition to that, we have enhanced programs that will help. Financing programs, grant writing assistance programs, where we've got an in-house partner, Widelity, who can help put together applications. They can do all the work. They can do independent audits. We've got association relationships for companies like BGE, where we could offer that as a potential option. And then we have an in-house option where we'll offer grant writing assistance. So what that would be is I can help you through your pre-qualification. I can help you through your application process as well. So again, based on your experience, your unique needs, we've got a program that fits that unique group. From a fixed wireless perspective, we can do your project identification. We can help identify where targets are, so BSL locations, project service areas. We can do that fixed wireless design, link budgets on backhaul and licensed microwave or millimeter wave, heat mapping on their CBRS last mile. We have the ability to do high-level fiber designs. We have partners that can do pre-engineering services, OSP engineering, on-site, low-level designs. They can do the permitting. They can do the PE stamp drawings. Each one of the requirements on these applications are you have to have an engineer sign off, and we can leverage these relationships to make sure you're compliant. The other end of this is if you're putting in a fiber deployment, be it aerial fiber, if you're doing buried or you're doing micro trenching, we have partners with national footprints that can not only provide us competitive and compelling bids, but they can go out there and do the project management, the installation. So if you have the ability to do it yourself, or if you're looking at hybrid networks or you're new to fiber, we've got something that will absolutely help. So the goal here is to give you one point of contact and to turnkey that entire experience for you. So a loaded question, but
yeah, I'm full of those right now. I'll try to ask you. I'll try to ask you just something a little more specific, just since we are focusing on DC power systems, intelligent power systems. So as the Winncom BEAD product program manager, pardon me, how does the BEAD initiative define or categorize power systems, and what should manufacturers and suppliers know about that classification?
okay, so great question. So this goes to compliance. And this is where one of the areas we can certainly help you with not just power, but the entire eco center. So the original ruling that came out was BABA. And again, as I mentioned, that's got to be manufactured in the United States. They came out a couple of months later with a waiver wired exemption. And that waiver wire exemption had multiple parts. It had a power exemption, it had a radio exemption, it had a networking exemption, and an antenna exemption. And what that allowed to do is to source other components that essentially weren't final assembly in China. And what we do here at Winncom is part of this is you have to have a compliance piece of it. Some states require this as part of the application. Others are going to be requiring it as part of reimbursement. Each one of these eligible vendors, be it BABA certification, or if it's a waiver wire exemption, we work with manufacturers, and a perfect example is ICT, and we'll supply a PDF document which will highlight the products that we're referencing, the country of origin for those, the harmonization codes, and the part number and the details. And you can use that as part of your reimbursement requirements on eligible products. So again, ICT has a host of solutions that we'll talk about throughout this presentation. And again, as a turnkey provider, we try to keep it simple by providing those letters for each one of those corresponding manufacturers.
Awesome, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate it. Is there? Do we want to turn the tables now, and do you want to fire something my way there, Alex? Or
yeah, I'll do you a favor. Let's see if we can make it true or false, right? For you giving me such easy questions. But we'll start with Cody, if you don't mind. What types of technologies and network applications are best supported by ICT's DC power solutions?
Yeah, I can absolutely speak to that. If you can move the slides forward, we got a kind of an eco, we'll call it more maybe an eco center just for this presentation. But you can see here, I won't go through everything on this slide. There's a lot here, but there just shows how diverse our solutions are within the industries that we currently are doing business in. So everybody who's on the session today, I'm sure you recognize 1, 2, 5, maybe even all of these items. But when we're speaking to BEAD specifically, I mean, we would be focusing obviously on the fixed wireless access piece. We do a lot in that space. The fiber to the premise is also, a very key part of that, and that can kind of play into hybrid networks when we're talking about fixed wireless access. Microwave as well, right? These can be a part of these service provider type networks, doing microwave backhaul, point-to-point backhauls, and even the 4G and 5G mobile networks. We have seen, we've seen a little bit more of a surgence in that as well, as being part of delivering that service. So we do play in a lot of different areas. There's some other ones there that I won't touch on. They don't really relate to BEAD, but we do work in these types of networks, and we actually have pretty good relationships with a lot of these manufacturers as well. We're exchanging information, making sure we're up to date on what they have now, what they have coming, just making sure that we're maintaining, good compatibility moving forward together. So that's hopefully that was a good enough answer there.
Yes, not true or false, but I think that was a little bit
not
more
quite. Yeah, no, I couldn't let you let me off that easy.
Yeah. So taking what you said and looking at that from a use case perspective, right? So say it's disaster recovery or rural broadband or public safety. Where are your solutions especially effective or in high demand?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, if you want to flip forward there, we got a pretty good slide here. So again, very diversified where our products sit here. So obviously a big focus today is service providers of all different types. So we have our traditional WISPs, folks who have just primarily been doing wireless that are maybe starting to migrate into fiber a bit, more of a hybrid approach. FISPs as well, just strictly fiber providers. We're in a number of those networks. Telephone cooperatives, electrical cooperatives, adding broadband service as a part of their already, established services to the communities they serve. And indigenous and tribal networks. We're seeing a lot of demand for those networks to really get beefed up, as a lot of those tribes are very rural areas. Land mobile radio. So this is going back to kind of our roots. This is where ICT really got started. Was in the LMR space. So public safety, emergency services, these critical networks where power is absolutely critical on site. Private network operators. So all types of those. Industrial networks. So I won't touch on these too much just because it is a little bit out of the scope, but critical oil and gas networks, mining networks, private LTE, multi-point, point-to-point, some of the eco center areas we've spoke of already. You have a big play there. City and municipal, disaster recovery, things like that. You're seeing an immediate need for broadband, and a lot of times those are, quick wireless cow towers that they're popping up just to get service, just to keep everybody going to get to the end goal. The carriers as well, tier 1, tier 2, we've got some relationships there. And security and surveillance, obviously these networks continue to grow as these cameras are getting, insanely data hungry. We're starting to see more and more importance placed on those types of network cameras everywhere, just knowing what's going on. Those play into insurance conversations as well. So yeah, we have a very diverse, number of verticals that we do play in. However, the service provider market has really been our bread and butter these past few years. We've really seen a lot of growth there, and we've developed some fantastic business there. So
yeah, if I could re-ask that question, I would have asked,
sure.
What verticals are you not in? That would have probably been a lot shorter of an answer.
Yeah, that's a good flip around. I'd have to think about that. I'd have to, I know we kind of covered all the bases there, but that's a good turn on me. I wasn't expecting that one. I have to get back to you on that.
So just changing gears really quick, Robin, question for you. Why would a customer choose a DC power system over something like a traditional AC power setup?
Well, traditionally, people have been using AC UPS. The problem with that, I won't say problem, but there's a lot of losses in there. As you can see in this picture, when an AC mains is connected to a AC UPS, what it does is basically first convert the power from AC to DC, charge the batteries, and then convert it back into AC. So a lot of conversion is happening. That means customers are losing a lot of money there just for converting it again and again. That is one. Second limitation with AC UPS is that you have fixed power there. It's not scalable. You cannot add more power. You are unable in most cases to add more battery power because your AC capability is limited. Even if you add more batteries, it won't charge it, or it won't charge it fast enough. Whereas when you go for a DC power system, the later part of the block, which is inverter in there, is skipped. It's not in there. Alex, if you can hit one time, it will show the grayed out part, which is not part of DC power system. So the architecture becomes pretty simple. It's AC coming into DC power system. It just converts into DC, charges the battery, and you provide that load to your network devices. Now, traditionally, a lot of network devices would come in AC input only, but now almost all have both the options, AC and DC. So it's very easy for customers to switch over to a DC option for the same model of network device, be it radio, this and that, Cisco switches. So, so the advantages of DC systems here is that you get a scalable battery power. So let's say if you have a DC power system and you have connected 100 ampere hour of battery, but later you think that you need bigger backup, you can add more batteries in there. Now, if you feel like your power is less, you can add more power modules in the system or add a slave shelf to it and get more power. So that way it is very scalable. You can have it planned during the installation, or you can do it even later when you realize you need more power. It's highly efficient because that conversion is limited. 50% of the conversion is gone, so you are not losing power in there. Network is very simple, and it's if I talk about ICT, it comes with advanced battery management, which we will discuss maybe later. It supports various chemistries of batteries that are available right now in the market, and you can see and have all those controls available.
Excellent, excellent. So just from my perspective, and a lot of what I spend my time now are BEAD and BEAD applications. So we have ballpark over 30 different customer applications across 50 states. Out of those, we've submitted effectively 12 of them. And first of all, I want to thank both of you because ICT has been a part of over 85% of these applications. Now, kind of getting into my question, what I'm seeing, and it was a bit of a shock at first because I did think there'd be more traditional fiber systems, but I am seeing at least 85% of these applications being hybrid, where there's fiber in high density areas, but customers are looking at PAUs, project areas, not only cover high density, but are moving out towards the suburbs or moving out to rural areas, which means fixed wireless is extremely prevalent. So from your perspective, what makes DC systems particularly well suited for rural broadband and these BEAD funded deployments?
Well, for us, it's a combination of DC power system and the intelligence that comes with our system. Like I said, for rural areas and places where you don't have people nearby operating the site, it gets very difficult when you have AC outages, or if you have, let's say, a network switch that is stuck and you need a person to physically go there and turn it on or off, or if AC mains is off for a long time due to a lightning storm or whatever, and you don't know when your systems are down. So our systems, the DC power systems, give this capability and these features to customers where they get these advanced notifications that like SOC alarm. Customers will get an alarm that your battery bank is only 25% of power is left there. So they can take these decisions whether they need to pull up a generator there or approach the power company, what's happening there. Like I had a customer the other day who would get call from his customers saying the network is down. And now with our power systems, he gets these advanced notifications that power has been out for so long and battery backup is going on. So he approaches power guys and tells them, get this thing done, and or when it is getting done, so he can inform his customers later on if it's not getting done on time. So these capabilities come with our system where our customers have all this information in hand for such scenarios, and they can act on time or before time.
Excellent. Now, I heard you say two things. I heard you say remote monitoring and intelligent power distribution. So taking those two things, how does that help customers reduce things like operational cost? And how could that, again, correlate to some important advantages in regards to some of these BEAD projects?
Like I said, fewer site visits. Customer doesn't have to go to site for all these things like flipping a switch and arrange a maintenance call for that. With our power systems, they can remotely do it from a phone or from a laptop or from a computer from their home. Whenever these are happening, like a network switch is stuck, they can do it remotely. So that saves time, that saves money, that saves those complexities that come with these troubleshooting issues. Second is the reduced time to resolution, because everything is in your hand, right? You can do all these things remotely. So that is there. Customers can monitor everything remotely. When I say everything, like if they have 10 loads connected, they have the physical monitoring and control of all those 10 loads. So they can plan beforehand. They can see if their equipment is acting the way it should. It provides them the basic troubleshooting steps before going to the site. And then with all these things comes the increased network performance. Your network is not down that often because you have everything in control.
Yeah, and just to add, excuse me, if you don't mind, we've gotten direct feedback from customers that say customer retention in having that increased network performance. If they get ahead of outages, if they're, they're aware of there's something going on with, not only the radio equipment or the fiber equipment, whatever they're using, the power as well. It's just keeping that network up, keeping your customers happy, and because we know that when the internet goes down, they can start calling around for somebody else pretty quickly, right? So we've heard that customer retention is super important piece too. So just to add that.
Yeah.
Excellent. So go over like an actual example. So I was recently, we did at WISPA America, we did a BEAD roadshow. And the roadshow is essentially where we talk about some of the things we're talking about here, ways we can help customers, cite some examples, and then we have strategic vendors talk about how their products fit in that solution. So as we're kind of going through this, someone asked a really great question. Now, when I say their network was somewhere in Oklahoma, but they were talking about grid instabilities and power constantly going out and how much of a heartburn that was really creating for them. So from an ICT perspective, is there anything you can do to help ensure power reliability in areas where grid stability is, I guess we call it, inconsistent?
Yes, so with our power systems, we have a bigger range of AC mains, like if it is anywhere between 90 volts to 300 volts, our power system would fluctuate. We have DC backup always connected, so within half a cycle of AC cycle, it won't matter. Our system seamlessly transfers between AC power and the DC backup power. And for that matter, the devices that are AC powered, so we have our inverter range, which switches between, so they have dual input. They take input from AC mains as well as they take input from DC backup. And they switch from AC to DC within half a cycle. So even if AC is gone multiple times or it is switching, fluctuating, that output is very reliable. It's constant. It doesn't create any fluctuations for the loads, and they don't reboot. While in some other vendors or manufacturers, we have seen or received this feedback from customers that their network devices keep rebooting. So these are some of the things where ICT can help. Along with it, as is mentioned in the slide, our systems, DC systems are scalable and they are configurable. Our solutions are not just, they can be customized in different ways based on what customer actually needs. Like we have a power system which provides only power, then that same power system can be configured into having a load distribution as well integrated into it. or it can have dual voltages for hybrid sites where sometimes customers have 48 volt and 24 volt requirement. One power system can provide both the voltages. So it's fully scalable, configurable, customizable. Individual monitoring and control of outputs, like I mentioned before, in our power systems as well as in our distribution panels. Each and every load can be controlled, monitored separately, which provides the capability to troubleshoot each device. Otherwise, if it is just coming out of one bulk output, you don't know which device is not working properly or what is the status there. All our devices, even battery, even our power systems or distribution panels come with network watchdog features where our systems, if enabled, can ping their devices, and when they are not responding, they will reboot it on its own. So you don't need to interfere in there. There's no human intervention required. Enhanced security, we have TLS 1.0, 1, 2, and now 3 is also available. Sorry, that is missing in the slide, but we have TLS 1.3 also. We received that feedback from many customers. They needed such security there, and we have implemented that. Like I said, our systems provide advanced alarms and notifications or real time. And there is data logging available also, which stays there for 30 days. You can download it. You can understand your site, how is it acting, what is the real-time load, what is the maximum load, all those things. And these also help in troubleshooting. Battery backup connections are there. Most of our systems allow for dual string battery backup. Our systems come fitted with 100 ampere breakers for those battery strings. And it provides a lot of remote monitoring and control features for batteries as well. And we have this low voltage disconnected integrated in our power system, so customers don't have to worry about battery getting depleted beyond a certain value, after which they are deemed dead, or you need to have a physical human intervention there to charge those back.
That's a good feature.
And most of these features are based on customer feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Keep hearing from customers what we are lagging or what would they want to have, and we keep adding them. And most of our systems, equipments, they come with remote monitoring and control features like our DC power systems, distribution panels, even our inverter, they come with remote monitoring and control, so you know exactly what is happening. Customers can log into these devices remotely, like I said, from phone, mobile, from a desktop, or from a laptop. And it's very easy to monitor everything on that. And you can turn off or reboot any device remotely whenever you need to.
And just to, I think we're probably going to get into the GUI maybe a little bit more detail. It's always worth mentioning, just because we live in a world of subscriptions and monthly fees for everything. Our intelligence comes on our products. So once you buy one of our intelligent products, the GUI, all the remote capabilities, the monitoring capabilities, everything is open and unlocked. There is no subscription, no reoccurring fees. Excuse me, nothing like that. So just always worth mentioning in this crazy world of subscriptions that we live in. Sorry to interject.
Yeah. Yes. So here we can talk about the battery management system that we have. The battery management module comes fitted in our systems, and it can, like I said, manage a lot of different battery chemistry. For example, lead acid has been there in the industry forever. If a lead acid battery is connected to our system, we can monitor battery metrics like the voltage, charging current that is taking. We can limit the charging current, so we know how much is allocated to the load and how much is allocated to the battery for charging. And by default, our power system will always favor powering the load first and then battery charging. You can do equalized charge. One of the great capabilities that come with our power system is the discharge testing that you can do for lead acid type batteries. This again was a feature introduced after we talked to a lot of customers who said that we have these big battery banks, but whenever there's a AC failure, the backup only stays for this while. What we can do, they cannot, send batteries all the time to a place and get it tested or something like that. So we incorporated this feature. You can schedule battery testing, how often you want to do, when do you prefer to start it, and it does not disconnect anything. Your network devices will always be connected while this test is going on. On top of it, like I said, we have low voltage disconnect in our battery management module, and features like state of charge alarming and all those things come with the unit. So that is for lead acid. Then we have a lithium-ion battery chemistry, which works very well with our system. We keep testing different manufacturers. As you also know, there are so many manufacturers now coming up with lithium-ion battery chemistry. And we had this question being asked so many times by customers, which lithium-ion battery works best with you? Do they all work with you? So we tested a lot of manufacturers. We are proud to say that our system works with almost every. I have not found any battery that our system is not compatible with, but from time to time we keep adding the battery list that most of our customers use. So as you can see at the bottom of the screen, there are lithium-ion from Nerada batteries or PowerS or others, and we will keep adding more in there. And these are the names most of our or a lot of our customers are using. So when they select that particular option, the profile gets loaded on its own with that battery. And on top of it, like for lead acid, we provide all the battery metrics, state of charge alarms, charge current limits, pre-configurations, as I said, and low voltage disconnect settings. When do you want to disconnect the battery and when you want to reconnect the batteries to save the battery. And on top of it, we have other alarms there as well for batteries. Our systems, DC power systems, which have load distribution in them, and our power distribution units, we have many variants, many flavors in them. The one in picture is a front access panel that we have. They all come with load management features. You can monitor individual loads. And, as you can see on the screen on the right hand side, there is an example where there are 4 load distributions outputs in a DC system. So you can see the switch. They are all enabled right now. You can turn them off. You can power cycle them. You can turn them on again. You can configure these also. And then you can name each of these outputs with respect to the device that that output is connected to. You can choose what happens when power is restored. Should it go back to the state it was? Do you want to enable it or do you want to disable it? You can enable power cycling for network watchdog features. If you have some non-critical loads at site, you can pre-select them, and when AC mains is gone and you don't need those non-critical devices consuming power, our system will shut them off every time AC is gone to save on the battery bank and have that prolonged battery backup time. And our system will always have you with the latest alarms or notifications that is happening. The alarms and notification can be sent to phones through SMS or email notifications. And there are a lot of things that are available, like if there is anything wrong with the power module, there's a lightning strike, your battery is running low, or your AC is gone, or you have logged in, logged off. All these informations are available through notifications.
Excellent. I think that was a fantastic amount of information. But hopefully for those on the line, that kind of helps paint the picture of the different features and functions this product can do. And I love the fact, and I think you mentioned it 2 or 3 times, that you're constantly adapting, constantly looking for feedback from your customers, always evolving. And I think that's really what makes you one of our most strategic battery providers at Winncom Technologies. So thank you again. And again, I think working together ensures solutions like this. So, yeah, absolutely. So from a remote monitoring perspective, how does that feature, along with the control, integrate with other network management platforms? I get that question a lot from customers. Are they compatible with SNMP, with people who have APIs, people who have third-party NOC tools? And what feedback are you receiving from operators about the need for more centralized or simplified remote power management?
For most parts, if it is a small customer, they have few sites, the GUI part works great. They put an IP address. It's as simple as putting an IP address on a browser, and all this screen, the web GUI that is on the screen right now shows up. You can go anywhere and try it out. But for sites for customers where they have multiple sites, we have our systems are SNMP compatible, and they work with all the software management tools that are there. And customers have the option to have everything centralized through those tools. Our systems work well. They can get all this notification. We provide all the support for it, like files, that IOD files and all those things that customer need. And the other thing that comes with SNMP is that you can, if you have multiple systems, you can do a bulk upgrade for firmwares. We do keep updating our firmwares for these hardwares. Whenever there is a feedback, we make sure we update it and provide it to most of the equipments that are compatible with it. So our customers will keep getting new firmwares, new features, and that can be uploaded through SNMP as well.
Excellent.
And just, sorry guys, just before we move on, just in case anybody is wondering, we do have that QR code there. If you don't have time to scan it now, that's totally fine. Our website does have live demonstrations of all of our intelligent equipment. So if you actually want to go in and see what the actual GUI is like and tinker around with it, yeah, ICT-power.com, and just pick the product you want to see, and there'll be a live demo button right on the page there. So just worth mentioning if anybody wants to tinker around.
Excellent. And we'll make sure we include that QR code on our email to the customers. So at the end of this, and usually you'll get an email from Dawn either later today or tomorrow, it'll be the video of this, it'll be the PowerPoint slides, and then we'll have different reference materials. We'll use that QR code. That way you can quickly access ICT's website to see some of those live demonstration options.
Perfect.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
So Cody, you
right.
piped up. Let me get a ball in your court, so to speak.
All right.
I mentioned BEAD a couple times on this panel call, and you guys are absolutely in 85% of these applications, which is absolutely huge. Now, can you walk us through what products would be most relevant if you're thinking fixed wireless, fiber to the premise, or even middle mile microwave applications?
Yeah, absolutely. If you just want to move forward there, Alex. So this is a bird's eye view of a lot of our portfolio. This isn't everything. I'm not gonna hammer everybody to death with. We could spend another hour on this slide. I do have another one coming up that zones in, but we do have we have our modular series, our hybrid series. These are the a la carte kinds of systems. We are going to get into that a little bit more on the next slide. DC power supplies, both intelligent or just basic, if you're only looking for that. Our energy manager series, this one is our latest and greatest distribution panel that can handle 50 amp outputs. So we were noticing on fiber networks and fiber equipment, OLTs, head ends, that required a little more power. So we've developed this product, and we've had some great success implementing into some fiber networks, a number of distribution panels, inverters, converters, and DIN rail solutions, even if you have smaller micro pop sites. And then, of course, our software, which Robin got into detail. If you go to the next slide, I'll just focus on our modular power series and our hybrid series. So our modular power series and our MPS Ultras, and then our hybrid and our hybrid Ultra. So if it has the word Ultra behind it, it goes from a 1RU to a 2RU system. But just long story short, I know we're kind of getting a little crunched on time here, so I'll make sure I get through this quick. But we have various output voltages, single or dual. depending what you're looking for, up to 1200 watts of output power. So we can power a ton of gear that you have on site. And, hot swappable N+1 redundant power modules that come in both 700 and 1500 watt options, the battery management, which Robin had spoke in detail on, as well as the load distribution and in the control module here. So these systems right here, what we're looking at, are the most popular for a lot of fixed wireless access, fiber networks, and even in some different verticals. These are kind of our straight up go-tos. But again, we have a suite of products. It's all about, we're happy to step in and help design, make recommendations based on what customers actually need at every individual site. They're all different. So we have a number of solutions that we can put in. We don't want to oversell, but we also want to make sure that there's room for scalability. And I think we're probably going to touch on that in a bit here. So I know that was a little quick, but I know we're getting a little shy on time, so I don't want to drag it out.
I think you hit the nail on the head, though. No two applications are the same. So working with ICT and Winncom, we can make sure that we're putting together the right solution in EcoCenter based on your unique requirements. And
Exactly.
again, I would urge people, if you are considering BEAD, or if you want to use BEAD's BSL locations as targets for private equity funding and starting to build out your networks, reach out to us. We can help you in that regard. And again, partner with ICT. We've got a host of solutions on the battery backup and remote monitoring control that we can offer as part of that eco center. So Cody, we talked about BEAD now, I think 5 or 6 different times, and alluded
Yeah.
to waiver wires and exemptions. What can you kind of go through what that is for ICT, and in particular the compliance aspect of it, and what that would look like for customers?
Yeah, absolutely. So, when the BABA, Build America, Buy America, the regulations, everything came out, our operations team was kind of all over it, making, seeing what is what, are we exempt, are we included, what is there? So we are exempt. So we have done, all of our research. So we've confirmed that we're exempt, and we do have a signed exemption letter that is available. So I know we've shared that with yourself, Alex, for some of those projects that you've put us in. So we appreciate that. But yes, we are exempt, and yeah, so we're good to go to fit into these projects. So that's probably all to say about that. So.
Short and sweet, I like it.
Sweet and short, yeah. We'll get through this slide quick.
So another thing I get requests or comes up as part of our application conversations from customers, it's combining solar and battery backup and what that looks like. Can you talk about how ICT can help support those hybrid power applications?
Robin, how about you take that one?
Yeah, well, solar sites are different, and some of those hybrid sites we have worked on, they have different architecture altogether. One of the simplest one is when customers have solar panels, and they just want to distribute that power into their equipment, but then because of the nature of it, the voltage fluctuates a lot. So in those applications, we have seen our DC-DC converters along with our distribution panels work best. For the sites where customers have grid power, but not a reliable one, or they have more of a solar power available, if the customer puts a bypass switch, and then our DC power system, between our DC power system and solar energy, it can switch between those two and charge their batteries, and everything else beyond that, the load, the distribution panel is same. It's just the capability of charging those batteries and providing the grid power while it is available. So it can be easily done. But again, the construction is different for different solar sites. So I would request, if anyone has such site, get in touch with us and we can talk about that specific site. But yes, it can be done with ICT equipment.
Thank you for clarifying. So I know again, we're coming down to it. I guess the last question I would have on my end is, again, coming back to scalability. So what kind of scalability do your systems offer? And particular for projects that might grow over time?
Yeah, very, very good question. I'll field this one. Yeah, we have a slide on that actually, Alex, if you want to bring us forward there. So yeah, this is just an example using our modular power series. So we have multiple configurations, and they're all laid out on the spec sheets, which are on our website. But again, this is all stuff that ourselves at ICT, we work alongside with Winncom. You know, Winncom is very technically sound on our products as well and designing. So, I mean, they can also, we can help out there. But essentially, we can put together a system that'll get you through today. And then if there is going to be, like you said, Alex, further site expansion, is there going to be more radios added, more OLTs added, more microwave, whatever it is, routers, switches, whatever. And it doesn't, our systems don't require you to make all of the investment up front. So you can see with those, like that MPS Ultra example, you see those empty slot bays. So that's where your power supplies go. So you don't have to fill those in with every system. If you only need 500 watts, you can just slot in a 700 watt power module. You can blank off the rest of the module slots. Say you deploy another radio, another sector, whatever it is, and you need more juice, you want more battery backup time, want your batteries to charge faster, whatever it is. You can hot swap another power supply right in that system. You don't have to take it offline. You don't have to take it down. You can just, have a tech go out, pop another power supply in, away you go. And we have these, like I said, we have a number of configurations that we can't really get to. Again, you don't have to fill all of the load distribution module slots as well. We also have blanking plates for those. So if you have 5 devices today, but we're most likely going to scale up to 8 or 9 down the road, again, you can just pop in breakers as you go along, power supplies, etc. And the bottom, pardon me, the bottom there is an actual picture of one of our systems with a blanking plate. So just so you have a visual of what it looks like. So you have the 2 power supplies there. You see the fans, and then beside it, just right there, just a plain old blanking plate. We sell those, very inexpensive, just to keep the system nice and clean and cool and moving forward. So yeah, we do this all the time. We design systems for today, and then with that ability in mind, whether the site scales or not, you already have the system in place to move forward. And it also allows, if a customer has, say, numerous sites, and you have to train your technicians and your folks that your boots on the ground. Excuse me. We have some customers that'll standardize on a shelf, and then they just build it out for what they need for that site. So it's nice and easy for the technicians to get in, do their installs, make it quick, make it clean, their experience, comfortable with the solution. So again, for now and then down the road, because we know, we're going to see 3 rounds of BEAD, and maybe something else comes up at the same site down the road where it's like, oh, we're going to, put in an application to go this way, now. So yeah, lots of options there. So, Alex, we're kind of feel like we've been letting you off easy. You've been asking us a lot of questions, so I'm going to turn that around on you if you don't mind. For customers that are considering a BEAD application, how does Winncom help them, prep, plan, meet their deadlines, meet the program requirements, etc.? What do you guys do to get all that in a group?
Good question. Good question. So this slide just provides a 50,000-foot overview, but it starts with planning. And planning, we have 2 unique resources. We have a QGIS database, and that QGIS database allows us to see BSL locations, broadband service locations, those who are unserved or underserved. We can look at served locations as well in those areas. We can identify incumbents in that area, what technologies they're deploying. Is there fiber? Is there fixed wireless? Is there DSL? Is there cable? Is there satellite? And we can look at previous funding grants. Is there USDA funding? Is there RDOF? Is there middle mile? But again, by taking those pieces of the pie, we can help determine the right areas for you to target. So it starts with the BSL strategy, and then looking at each individual state, and everyone's different. Some do by census blocks, some do by census block groups, some are a combination of, I don't know how they do it. I think sometimes they just throw a dartboard and say, yeah, it's my PAU. But taking that information, we can help determine the right targets. And then based on your experience, are we looking at fixed wireless? Or are we going to look at this scoring rubric and try to optimize? And that could be targeting different areas for different technologies. As I mentioned previously, high density areas, most likely it might make sense to do fiber. Fiber will be really cost effective, but we want to look at passing costs. So I'd say as a litmus with fiber, you want to be below $10,000 per BSL location, while fixed wireless, you want that number to be even less, somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000 per pass. So again, demographics, geographical locations, terrain consistencies, obstructions, all that will take in account and help you build out the right technology strategy. So once we have the design, we then want to look at the individual states. And I mentioned pre-qualification being key. If you miss it, there isn't a certainty that you're going to be able to go back and do it. And for 9 out of 10 pre-quals, you don't have to have your project area. It's looking for, do you have experience in broadband that's over 2 or 3 years? It's going to ask for unaudited financials of either 1 or 2 years. It's going to ask about resumes for key personnel, who your CTO is, if you've looked at some environmental impacts for your area. It'll talk about your capabilities. So it's going to be questions in that regard. And where we can help, either we can partner you with a grant writer, which we use Widelity. They can turnkey the entire experience. They can offer a middle road. They can do a compliance audit. We've got strategic relationships with outside partners, example being BGE, or we have an assistance program where we can help you with these pre-qualification and applications as well. But again, doing pre-call is key, and then the application part, you've got to know your project area, and then by taking those details, we can help you work through the pro forma, we can help create the budget for this, and we can help you answer a lot of these questions. Again, the key here is you work with one single point of contact, and then from project identification to bill materials to fulfillment to grant writing, we're working with you throughout this entire process. So we try to make something that's very complicated at least a little bit easier. So that's a 40,000 foot overview. And then again, we do have a lot of strategic relationships with construction companies, with pre-engineering contractors. So again, no matter if you're doing fixed wireless or if you're doing fiber or a combination thereof, we're here to support you. We have a BEAD portal, and I would suggest everyone join. It's got fantastic content like today's panel discussion. We'll talk about BEAD in general. We have a lot of strategic partners on here, a lot of concepts. So all that is information that is eligible at the fingertips. We have eligible product sections. We have what's latest and greatest from each individual state. So it's a great resource to kind of pull everything front and center. And again, we're here to help you. We're here to make this easier. So engage Winncom, engage ICT, and as a partner, we'll help you identify the right areas, the right methods, and ultimately give you the highest probability of winning these grant applications. And again, we talked a lot about BEAD. There's a lot of money in USDA Connect. There's a lot of other funding options out there. And then we've got a lot of customers that are using this as target information. BEAD's over 4 years once the money is released. Some of the BSLs could be targeted now if you've got existing infrastructure.
That's, Alex, I'm glad you pointed out the portal. I've personally poked around on there quite a bit, and I've learned a lot. And it is a very complex and complicated process. So it's good to see like a traditional distributor really expanding those services, expanding that value add to their customers, as opposed to, hey, we'll pack the box and ship the box, right? You guys are doing everything from that grant writing to, pre-planning, speccing product in, making sure, all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, because it sounds like if you miss something small, you might be hooped. So that's awesome. So much for throwing you a curveball. I thought I could catch you. I thought I could catch you off guard at the end. I tried.
Thank you, though. Well, for our audience members, again, thank you for joining another panel discussion. Again, if you've got questions, put them in there and we'll reach out to you individually. For ICT, Cody, Robin, thank you guys. I think this has been extremely informative for our customers. And again, I will say we're here as a team to help. So any opportunity whatsoever, BEAD related or not, reach out. Our information will be provided on the follow-up email tomorrow, and we'll engage in conversation.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Alex. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Really
Thanks, guys.
appreciate, yeah, really appreciate it, everybody. Thank you so much for putting this together. Appreciate it.